This episode of Taproom Travelers is brought to you by Lazy Monk Brewery.
My name is Jim Bernard. I'm the taproom manager at Boom Island Brewing Company. It's a fairly easy sell. The cornerstone of any taproom is that, or any brewery, is that the beer is solid, and we serve a quality beer here. So a lot of people come in here who have never tried a Belgian-style beer. And they haven't had a fresh Belgian, possibly lately, and it's just been great fun to teach people about Belgian tradition, the history of the brewery, and just pour them quality beers.
I'm Kevin Welch. What I do here, I do everything, including taking garbage out, packing, and making business decisions. So I'm a founder and CEO. No, I'm initially from China, Sichuan province. Came here in '96, went to university, went to Augsburg College and U of M for my music degrees. So trained in, same as Kevin, classical music, French horn player.
Hi, I'm Kevin Welch. I'm founder and brewer of Boom Island Brewing Company. Welcome. The name Boom Island. Boom Island is the name of a park just across the river here, right on the Mississippi. It lies in proximity in the city of Minneapolis, exactly where I was born in the city of Memphis, a few miles south down the river. And so Boom Island has a personal connection to me. Boom is also a suburb of Antwerp, a great city on the River Scheldt. It's also a river city. And just outside, one of the great suburbs is Boom. And so Boom is a word which is Flemish in origin, so it has Belgian ties itself. And so it made perfect sense for multiple reasons to name the brewery Boom Island. This was about 11 years ago. I was a classical musician, French horn player. A good number of my other orchestra musician colleagues made beer at home, and so that was my first introduction to that even being possible as a hobby. And so they would, after dress rehearsals, they would crack a couple of their home brews, and I thought, well, maybe I should try this and return the favor, on the next concert or two. And so from there on, it was a hobby that kind of rapidly grew into a passion. But I got into imported beer, of course, was much more common than American microbrewed beer at that time, right out of college. But right when I got into the brewing about 11, 12 years ago, I tasted a Westmalle Tripel, and that was the first beer that really made me stop and say, wow, there's something else going on that I'm not quite sure where those flavors are coming from. That really opened my eyes to the creativity that was present in being able to make beer yourself. And so I dug a little more in that tradition of monastic brewing in Belgium and learned that, wow, I just barely scratched the surface with that triple. And then the more I learned about the broader tradition of brewing in Belgium, it just almost seemed infinite. And when you look at the tradition, it really is the case that in Belgium, people treat beer the way the French do treat wine. For myself, for the majority of my 11 years as amateur brewing, I was mainly just brewing Belgian styles and researching different Belgian traditions. Going to Belgium, learning what I could directly from the source. And so I feel a lot more intimate with that tradition, where I find that ultimate creativity is in the Belgian tradition. But that's what we're passionate about. It does set us apart a bit, and I think it's not a bad thing. Being unique is great.
He's so passionate, I can't stop him. And it's not okay for a wife to stop him. And because there's just so much passion, so much knowledge, it has to go somewhere. And let's open brewery, why not? And in the beginning, I wasn't as involved. But as we were preparing and and I just basically influenced by his passion, and then it was at a point that one person wasn't enough. So, and I have something to bring to basically the management side. So we thought, well, let's do it together. So.
Along with my wife's father, they moved here from China to help us get the brewery up and rolling. And so really those early days, it was the four of us, my wife and myself and her mom and dad. Her dad's a retired engineer. He studied and bid jobs based on blueprints for skyscrapers in the little town of 14 million that they come from.
And then when we lived in China, Kevin taught him homebrew. We homebrewed. That was their kind of bonding.
So that was his, once he retired, I recruited his efforts to come here and help us design our first brewery, which he spent the time kind of studying the designs of the tanks themselves. I took my time and went back to Votech school and learned how to weld stainless steel. So then we kind of partnered those efforts and welded together our first fermenters, which we used for 2 years until we moved over here. And then we needed more, of course, because we're not brewing 3 barrels at a time. Now we're doing 5 times that at a time. So I took the same drawings, we scaled them up, and that's what we have is 15-barrel fermenters now.
And for us, it was a good opportunity to really spend time together and to get to know Kevin even more. And of course, this is the time your daughter needs you. I think that was they came, even though that was difficult for them. Yeah, especially when the first year when it was just 4 of us. Only Chinese, that was the only language. Kevin speaks Chinese fluently, and my parents didn't speak, they don't speak a word of English, few words. My first phrase my dad learned was, "I want a beer."
We serve flights here. Anybody, any beer drinker, from the novice to the pro, can find at least one beer here that they enjoy. So we have a variety of beers here with different enough flavor profiles that there isn't one pillar in our repertoire of beers that we sell. They all kind of sell the same.
Well, I usually go through a tour of our 5 year-round beers, starting with our lightest one, which is our Witness. It's our Belgian-style wit beer. This one is a very unique beer. It's a light, 5%, very hazy blonde, where you get the term wit, meaning white and Flemish. And then I treat it with kind of a North Sea Bruges type approach, where it's very light and subtle on the spices. We have orange peel, coriander, and a little bit of Chinese chrysanthemum in that. So it's just enough spice to kind of round over the wheat in the flavor. Then the next one is our Belgian Pale Ale. This one is a genuine Antwerp-style pale. So if you're sitting in the city square of Antwerp, you're going to get a goblet that tastes like Sylvia's, our Belgian Pale. Bready, biscuity, 5.5%, the true taste of Antwerp. The third beer year-round is our Taproom, which is a Belgian IPA. I took a couple of ideas from 2 different Belgian breweries that I spent a little time at and melded the 2 approaches in their hoppier beers to come up with what I shoot for in Taproom, which is our 8% Belgian-style IPA. Then I have Hoodoo, which is our Abbey-style double, dark 8.5%, dark fruit, kind of prune, raisiny, fig type flavors going on. And then the final one, the Brimstone Tripel, which is at 9.5%, blonde, clove, light honey type flavors lingering around. So those last 2, the double and the triple, kind of a little nod to tradition of the monastic brewing in the country of Belgium. In our triple, there are no spices in that beer, no spices at all, but you might get coriander and you perhaps get clove to be a little more present as a flavor. There are no cloves, there is no coriander. Now, if I were to brew another beer and want to put coriander, our wit beer has coriander in it. There's a little light, kind of lingering coriander in the background. And so it's completely acceptable to use coriander as the source of the coriander flavor or to coax that out of a different yeast strain. And so with the double and the triple, we've got Hoodoo and Brimstone, right? Hoodoo, we've got a little evil magic kind of undertone going. And then Brimstone, of course, I grew up a kid in Arkansas, going to church on the weekends, and it was all preaching about I'm not going to elaborate too much on that, but I heard Brimstone referred to quite regularly. And so in Belgium, if you're making these doubles or triples and you're affiliated with a monastery, then you'll name it St. Sistus, St. Bernardus. So they're all named kind of in association with a particular saint or with a particular abbey. Okay, so if you're a commercial brewery and you're doing it for profit, then you take the opposite road and you give it somewhat of an evil name.
A lot of times when people say they don't like Belgians, I would guess that they maybe tried a Belgian in the past that took a long time to get to these shores. I mean, Belgian beer is fermented in the bottle, and it's the right, it's a beautiful thing, and it makes the beer more complex. But a lot of times when people order or get a bottle of Belgian beer, it's not 100% the way the brewer intended that beer to taste. So when they come in here and get a fresh representation of a number of different Belgian-style beers, they're like, oh, I don't like Belgian beer, but I like your beer.
Which brings us to our purpose of why do we do Belgian-style beer here? Well, because the beer in Belgium, it tastes different than it tastes when you buy it here. We bring that whole tradition here so you can buy it locally and fresh. And we get that fresh taste that you would taste when you're in Belgium drinking Belgian beer, with those same flavors and the same freshness right here in Minneapolis.
This is a Belgian-style brewery. The only language we were spoken was Chinese, making Belgian-style beer in North Minneapolis. So we have quite a few things put together. It's really, like I said, it's a community effort, and which I love about this. It's a space for people to come enjoy, and it's a space that built by friends and families and beer lovers, and that's really what this is about.
So thanks for joining us at Boom Island. Bye-bye. Totsiens.
Hi. If you like what we do here, you can click up above where we have t-shirts and other merchandise for sale. You can also show your support by subscribing or liking the video. You can also click down there where we have our next episode. I'm going to shut up right now for a word from my sponsors.
Lazy Monk is a popular brewery located in downtown Eau Claire, Wisconsin. The family-owned brewery has fantastic beer, and their taproom's atmosphere is something to experience firsthand. We hope to see you there. Lazy Monk, a family brewery.